8 people will never go home again, their lives cut short at the hands of a terrorist, a man investigators say did it in the name of ISIS and is now bragging about it to investigators. We just saw authorities in New York, including the acting U.S. Attorney June Kim, lay out the complaint as they have it against this man, Sayfullo Saipov. He will be charged officially, but the criminal complaint is very detailed and says that Saipov has been telling investigators in the hospital that he wanted to kill as many people as possible. He rented this Home Depot truck, this pickup truck, and had practice runs 2 weeks ago to see how he would turn onto the pedestrian walkways. He went into the West Side Highway and then proceeded, he wanted to go to the Brooklyn Bridge, but ran into that school bus. And he said he wanted to kill as many people as possible. At one point, according to the complaint, Saipov wanted to put ISIS flags on the pickup truck in the front and in the back, but thought that he would be seen and attract too much attention. While talking to investigators in the hospital, he told them he would like them to bring him an ISIS flag in the hospital. We're told that investigators gave him a Miranda rights that he waived verbally, and now they are getting ready to charge this man with terrorism, among other charges likely. Meantime, here in Washington, President Trump had some choice words for this terror suspect and says he wants to protect our nation by clamping down on an immigration lottery program that let him into the country. This, as of course, one of America's greatest and most resilient cities, prepares to protect thousands of runners and spectators heading to New York for its annual marathon. We have Team Fox coverage tonight. Chief White House correspondent John Roberts with the president's push for more extreme vetting. Chief Intelligence correspondent Catherine Herridge with the killer's background and the new information in the investigation. But we begin with senior correspondent Rick Leventhal in New York for us tonight. Good evening, Rick. A lot of information in that, including the second person they were looking for. They no longer want to look for him. They found him, and they're talking to him.
Correct, Brett. They thought he might have information. They're no longer looking for that suspect. I can tell you the NYPD has now cleared the crime scene behind us, and the West Side Highway is reopening to traffic, but the investigation is just now beginning. And as you referenced, a lot of new information coming out of the U.S. Attorney's Office and those charging documents, including that the suspect in this case confessed to his crimes and showed no remorse for the carnage he caused.
A massive team of investigators goes inch by inch over a crime scene stretching nearly a mile along a bike path from Houston Street to Chambers Street in Lower Manhattan and search for a motive for the carnage they say was caused by 29-year-old Sayfullo Saipov. Authorities say it does not appear the Uzbeki national was the target of any probe, but has associates who were on the FBI's radar. Investigators suspect Saipov became radicalized in the U.S., and notes left in the truck make it clear he had been planning the attack for weeks, likely inspired by the Islamic State.
He appears to have followed almost exactly to a T the instructions that ISIS has put out in its social media channels before, with instructions to their followers on how to carry out such an attack.
Here in the U.S. since 2010 on a legal diversity visa, Saipov allegedly drove a rented Home Depot truck at high speed, deliberately hitting bicyclists and pedestrians before slamming into a school bus, killing 8 and wounding a dozen others.
There's multiple people on the ground, Central. We need buses from Houston all the way down to Chambers. I got 4 or 5 people on the ground. Got multiple casualties. This is a mass casualty situation here.
Authorities say Saipov jumped out of the truck yelling Allahu Akbar, meaning God is great in Arabic, holding what appeared to be 2 handguns, leaving several knives behind in the vehicle. The weapons turned out to be paintball and pellet guns. 5-year veteran NYPD officer Ryan Nash, responding to the scene, shot and wounded the suspect, who is now out of surgery. Authorities are searching residences connected to the suspect in Florida and Paterson, New Jersey, where he rented an apartment next to a mosque he also attended. They've questioned his wife, who reportedly claimed no prior knowledge of the attack, and investigators are interviewing friends and family and going through Saipov's internet and phone history to look for influences or connections to known radicals. 5 of the dead were Argentinians, 2 were Americans, and the other was from Belgium. And 9 of the 12 injured are still hospitalized in serious or critical condition.
And Brett, we're told the suspect just entered a federal courtroom in a wheelchair with handcuffs and his feet shackled. And of course, the NYPD, as you mentioned, will have its hands full this weekend protecting the New York City Marathon. 51,000 runners and some 2.5 million spectators expected to line the 26.2-mile route through all 5 boroughs of Manhattan. We're told that the NYPD will have more sand trucks being used as blocker vehicles, twice as many as before, along with twice as many observation teams and counter sniper teams, along with heavy weapons teams. But New York City, of course, has been on high alert since 9/11 for terror attacks. That has not changed tonight as they continue to shift to try to adapt the changing tactics used by these terrorists. Brett?
Rick, thank you.